everyone, it's Marisha, and welcome to my creative diary. I hope you're having a great day. Today I am making this teddy bear hugs see-through window shaker card. Products featured in today's video are by Honeybee Stamps Hugs Die Set, Scrapbook.com's Nested Hearts Die Set, and Penny Black's A Big Hug Stamp Set. So let's get started. First, I'm going to begin working on my background, so I'm bringing in Distress Ink Mustard Seed, Picked Raspberry, and Spiced Marmalade. Now, for this card in particular, you do not have to use Distress Ink as your background. You can go with a printed cardstock, plain cardstock, whatever you want to do, go for it. Next up, I'm bringing in my next color to blend, and that is the Spiced Marmalade. So during my last video, I mentioned that I prefer blending brushes over the blending foam tool. Well, someone sent me a message and they suggested that I use or try the dome foam blending tool. So guess what? I'm going to try it out and I'll let you know how it works out for me. Now that I'm done, my next step is to add a little bit of splatter to this background. So I'm bringing in some water and I'm spritzing and spraying and flicking and dropping water all over this background. I'm going to let it set for a few seconds and then I'm going to lift it with my paper towel. It didn't turn out how I quite wanted it to. So guess what? I'm going to do it all over again. I'm going to flick, splatter, drop some water here and there, let it sit for a couple of more seconds, and then I'm going to lift it with my paper towel. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Time for the reveal. There, I got a few droplets. That's all I wanted on this background. Nothing much, just a little bit of drops. Now we're on to our next step. Now it's time for some embossing. So I'm bringing in my stencil by Simon Says Stamp, and I'm just trying to figure out where I'm going to place this at to get the impression that I want. I'm going to flip it over, apply some low tack tape, and then I'm going to flip it back over. And I am bringing in this clear Embossing Dabber. I prefer the Dabber over using my clear embossing ink pad. So again, to each is their own. I like the Dabber. So once that's done, I'm going to peel it off. And I didn't want the hearts to be perfect. So the Dabber, I just basically just dabbed it in there. And I'm going to bring in my embossing powder, which is gold. Now I know it looks brown right now, but wait until the reveal. Now it's time to apply my embossing powder. So I'm going to sprinkle it on top of my panel and then tap off the excess and then apply my heat. And watch, you're gonna see how it's changing? I love embossing powder, especially when it looks one color in the jar and then it changes colors when you apply the heat. Isn't that pretty? I love that gold. And that's it. I love how it turned out. Next up, it is time for me to make my see-through shaker window. So I'm going to die cut the two top panels and my card base. So I'm bringing in my heart die, and I'm going to begin die cutting my top panel first. So first I'm going to position my heart on my top panel. I'm going to apply this low tack tape, and this is just to prevent the die from moving as it goes through my die cutting machine. Now it's time for the reveal. Next up, I'm going to take my top panel, apply it to my second panel, and I'm using this as a guide for me to cut out my next heart. Now that everything's lined up, I'm running it through my Big Shot machine, and here's the reveal. And then I'm just Bringing my top panel back in just to make sure that it's aligned correctly. If it wasn't, I would have to do this all over again, not with the top panel, but with the second panel. And now I'm going to take my second panel and apply it to my card base to make sure that it's going to be lined up correctly so I can cut out one more heart. Now that the placement is done, I'm going to run it through my Big Shot machine, and then it's time for the reveal. Now I'm bringing back in my two top panels, and I'm going to line them up with my card base just to make sure that everything has been cut out correctly, and it looks like it has. So guess what? It's on to the next step. So now it's time to assemble my see-through shaker window. So I am working from back to front. So I'm taking the heart that I cut out from the top panel and I'm gluing it to the inside of the card base. So then that way when the card is opened up, the heart will be revealed. Next up, I'm taking double-sided adhesive tape and I'm applying it to the top of my card base. I'm then bringing in my acetate sheet and I'm going to give it a good firm press. Then I'm applying more tape to the top of that. And then I'm going to apply my card panel. Now I'm going to give this a good firm press to make sure that everything is sandwiched together. Now I'm repeating my first step on my top panel by applying the adhesive tape, and then I'm going to apply the acetate sheet. I hope you're still with me. I know there's a lot going on with this card, but just like anything in life, there is a process, but the results in the end are well worth it. Now, this shaker window is almost complete. So I brought in the foam tape and I am just applying it to the window frame and my top panel. Now it's time to fill my window with my sequins and little hearts, just little things I have in my stash. There's no right or wrong way to do this. If you want to add a little, add a little. If you want to add a lot, add a lot. Now I'm bringing in my anti-static powder tool and I'm just rubbing it along my foam tape. And this is just to prevent my shaker bits from getting stuck or sticking to the foam tape. Then I'm going to apply my top panel. And the shaker window is complete. This card is really coming together. So now we're on to the next step. I am bringing in my hug sentiment and I am stacking 3 of them just to add a little bit of dimension. I'm also bringing in my little teddy bear that I colored and cut out off camera. So I'm going to apply some adhesive glue to the back of my teddy bear, Care Bear, and apply him to the top of my card panel. And I'm going to repeat the same step with my hug sentiment. Next, I'm bringing in my Misty stamping tool and my Lawn Fawn's black licorice ink, and I'm going to stamp a sentiment, "I love you very much," to the inside of my card. This card is technically done, but you know me, I have to take it one step further. So I'm going to apply a few sequins to the top panel. Ta-da! This card is complete. I know there were so many steps, but guess what? It was well worth it, don't you think? As always, I thank you so much for tuning in. I'm forever humbled and grateful. Please check out my website at thediarybellrose.com for more information regarding the products that I use or my social media details. Check it out below. Also, if you have not subscribed, please feel free to do so. Share this video with someone, click the thumbs up button and the notification bell, and let me remind you that self-care is the best care. And until next time, please take care.